Hello, my name is Chris and you're listening to Your Career Kit. I'm joined in this episode by Emma Baker, Olivia Whitehead and Will Blundell-Mosley from KPMG. Tune in for a real-world story of the move from school to an apprenticeship, what to consider when choosing your options, where they can take you, and expert tips on what employers really care about when hiring school leavers, as well as incredible insights into KPMG's amazing apprenticeship opportunities. This episode is a must-listen if you're a school or college student, parent or teacher, deciding or advising on what a future path might be. Right, let's meet our guests.
Welcome, Emma, Will, and Olivia. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Good. Well, today we are going to explore the importance of mentoring in an apprenticeship program and the ways KPMG support and mentor their apprentices to help them learn, develop, and shape their future career path. Deciding what to do after finishing school or college is a huge decision, and many school leavers are unsure about what opportunities they are best suited to. So, Will, you are in your second year of an audit apprenticeship at KPMG. Please tell us a little bit about how you got here.
So, I remember it was a very tough decision in the final year of college, weighing up between university and apprenticeships. So I remember what that feels like. So for me, I wanted to go into finance because of my granddad. So he was actually an auditor himself many years ago when everything was done on paper. He kind of planted the seeds of that initial inspiration. And then I did accounting at A-level, so it's quite a rare offering actually. And my teacher was an ex-Big Four auditor herself. So she kind of directed me, gave me lots of information about the industry, the apprenticeship opportunities, and how to kind of get my foot in the door at a Big Four firm such as KPMG. And I've always enjoyed business, finance, money, economics, all those kind of general topics. In terms of why KPMG, so for those that don't know, all the global professional services firms are kind of ranked into this Big Four system, and KPMG sits within that. So that reputation kind of spoke for itself and was a big reason why I wanted to apply here. Also, there's the locality of the different regional offices that KPMG have. So myself and Emma, work in KPMG Gatwick in Crawley, which is nice, short little drive for me every morning, which I prefer to sitting on the train, etc. In terms of apprenticeships, I think the big pros of apprenticeships, earning money straight away, no uni debt, starting my CV three years earlier than people who have gone to uni. So they're the main highlights of that decision for me.
Brilliant. No, thank you. That's a really comprehensive background to your decision-making process. I think a lot of students have similar decisions to go through, and that rationale makes a lot of sense. I think it's interesting about the location as well. I think a lot of people maybe think they need to relocate to do an apprenticeship, but it's nice that actually it's a great opportunity that you kids commute to locally. That's a big thing. You don't have to go off and leave home and make a new start somewhere. You can just literally, as you say, skip down the road and get to work every day. That's brilliant. Well, thanks, Will. So when we go out to speak to students and at careers fairs, we're often asked whether students need industry experience to be able to get onto apprenticeship programs. Now, my understanding is that companies tend to be more interested in transferable skills when hiring apprentices, because they'll actually teach the industry workplace skills as part of the apprenticeship. Is that the case at KPMG, Olivia? You're part of the student recruitment team there. What do you tend to look for when you're hiring apprentices?
Yeah, of course. So a little bit like Will was sort of saying, KPMG are known for being one of the top 4 accountancy firms in the UK, and it's kind of regarded as a professional services firm. So I guess all we mean by professional services is a business whose core output is to provide a service or expertise rather than sort of like a physical product. So at KPMG, we offer a range of different services. So whether this is within audit, consulting, deal advisory, tax, legal and engineering, and then also KPMG Business Services, which is actually where I sit within the business. So kind of going back to what we look for when we're hiring, we don't look for any prior work experience for any of our apprenticeship programs. We don't look at which subjects you might have studied during your A-levels, for example. All you will need to do is meet our entry requirements for that specific program. So an example of this might be achieving an A to C in your English and Maths GCSE, for example, and 120 UCAS points, as well as kind of meeting the fit for our assessments, which I can obviously go into a little bit more detail later on. The main reason, I guess, that we don't look for any prior work experience is because we're just really not looking for the finished product. We kind of understand that you are at the very beginning of your career journey, and KPMG will teach you everything that you need to know. What we're really looking for is driven individuals who have the willingness to learn, as well as kind of gaining the greater insight as to working life at KPMG as well. So in terms of, let's say, strengths as to what we would look for, these would be things such as career motivation. Are you a resilient performer? Do you work well in a team? Are you a credible connector? And those are just to kind of name a few things that we would really look for in those assessments. So essentially, we're really looking for the potential in somebody, and then we will teach you everything else that you need to learn in regards to the capability that you choose. In terms of what we give you as, in an apprenticeship, we've created a rich curriculum and learning community to help build your skills, fulfill your potential. So how it would start is with an immersive induction experience, which is designed to help build your confidence, but also sort of transition you into the world of work. So you will take part in a few different sessions to help you learn a lot more about KPMG. You'll get to connect with your student community, and you'll kind of understand our support structures and what is in place for you to help set you up for that success. So kind of throughout your career journey at KPMG, you'll be supported with a team called our Early Careers Development Team. And this team is literally solely dedicated to support you from the very start of your journey all the way through. I think at KPMG, we really recognise that it can be hard to undertake a professional qualification as well as kind of on-the-job tasks. So that's why we've dedicated a team specifically just to help you grow your skill set, to support you both kind of personally and also in your professional development as well.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you. That's really interesting to know. So Will's a bit unusual in terms of the subjects he studied at A-level that are very specific towards accountancy, but what you're saying is that actually that's not a prerequisite for KPMG. You can kind of study any subject as long as they meet those minimum entry requirements. They're still welcome to apply.
Yeah.
And so in terms of things that students can do, I guess, while they're at school, if they don't need specific work experience, that's great. Presumably some kind of work in a commercial environment, whether it's just waitressing, babysitting, whatever it is, presumably that is helpful because it will help demonstrate some of those key skills you talked about, things like collaboration.
Yeah, it's all about those transferable skills, and you'll be surprised at how many you probably naturally do hold. So for example, I did, way back when I did do bar work, waitressing and things like that, and you'll just be surprised at how transferable some of those skills might be, like working under pressure, meeting deadlines, things like that. Even with your schoolwork, meeting those deadlines, and how are you going to prepare, to get there and things like that. And we will teach you all of the professional side of that. So it's just really sort of having that individual with that willingness to learn.
Yeah, brilliant. That makes sense. So I guess it's important for school students before they go into an assessment, before they apply, to start thinking in the back of their minds, what is it I've done outside of school that actually may have developed some of these skills I've probably got, but don't really think about on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. So Emma, you are Will's manager and work with a number of apprentices. If any of our audience are wondering whether an apprenticeship might be right for them, do you have any advice or pointers on how they can make that decision?
Yeah, so like Will said, it is a really tough decision to make. And what I would recommend is talking to people and doing your research. Even Will mentioned going to visit different universities as well to weigh up both your options and see what ultimately is best for you. But there's so much out there online to research around apprenticeships, and especially at KPMG, you can reach out to different people to understand if that might be the thing for you. And I'd really say apprenticeships are for people who are keen to learn the practical skills that you actually use on your job, and rather than sit in a lecture hall and be lectured at for hours on end. So I myself went down the degree route, but I have a philosophy degree and now I'm a chartered accountant. So everything I learned at uni is not really that relevant for my day job. But what Will's had is an early start from 18 years old, coming in and learning those practical skills that he's going to use in the workplace going forward. So it is that on the job learning and getting paid whilst he's doing it, and not have that big student debt that I have and pay off every month.
Yeah, it's a big chunk out of the paycheck, isn't it? That's really good to know. So Libby, you mentioned this as well, that kind of willingness to learn and keenness to learn. Well, it sounds like the learning environment's very, very different compared to school. Have you got any examples maybe of those differences? At school, you're often sit and taught what to write, how to answer essay questions, that sort of thing. It's very prescriptive. How's that different to, say, an apprenticeship? If someone thinks, do you know what, my learning style maybe isn't suited to sitting in a classroom and being taught at or sitting in a lecture hall and just being spoken at for an hour and to take notes. What kind of learning styles work for an apprenticeship?
So for me, there's almost two elements to the learning. There's the kind of academic kind of tuition side of things for the professional qualification. Then also every single day in my day job, I'm learning new methodological elements and how to actually be an auditor. So in terms of how to do my day job, I prefer kind of that interactive learning, the kind of visual representations of what I need to do. So obviously working collaboratively, with other apprentices, grads, or more experienced people means I can do that. And then with the tuition side of things for our professional qualification, I would say there's a lot of freedom and a lot of kind of onus on yourself to take responsibility for your learning. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of support in place, such as the ECD, Early Careers Development Team, that Olivia mentioned. But, I can choose when I put my study days in. I can choose what resources I want to use. Do I want to do kind of practice assessments all the time? Do I want to, do flashcards or whatever? It's not like I'm sitting in a class where someone's telling me what to do, how to revise, when to do it.
No, that's brilliant. So I guess, it's people who, as you say, have got that desire to go out and learn and put some emphasis on themselves rather than just sitting there and absorbing what other people tell them. It's a case of just the type of person who likes to go out and get things done and learn that way. Then apprenticeship sounds like a great option for them. So the move from school environment to a large company is a huge change. I guess, how did you find that, Will, and what have KPMG and Emma done to help support you with that move?
Yeah, I remember it was very nerve-wracking, especially that last kind of week before joining. Olivia mentioned the kind of induction system when you first join, literally designed to build confidence. That was amazing. I remember on my first day here in Gatwick, there was a fellow apprentice, Jamie. He talked me through the ropes of everything, introduced me to everyone in the office, and straight away, it wasn't intimidating at all. It was, just as friendly as being in school with kind of teachers and stuff, but in that professional environment. And that idea of that support network continues all the way through. So I had a pre-joining buddy before I started work. I had a buddy to talk me through pretty much for the whole of the first year, and I still talk to her most days for advice. Then, of course, I've got Emma, my line manager. We meet frequently on a monthly basis, formally, but obviously much more than that casually. So the support network is massive and comes from all angles.
That's great to hear. That must be really reassuring as well for people who are considering this as an option, to know that they're not thrown into a completely alien environment and expected just to work out how to swim by themselves. So Emma, part of your role, I believe, is to mentor Will. For those who maybe aren't familiar with what that is, would you mind just explaining kind of what a mentor is and how they help apprentices to grow?
Yeah, so I would say a mentor is someone who has your back and wants the best for you and wants you to succeed. Hope to be a mentor to be someone who instills confidence in someone and gives them advice and empowers them to take opportunities and to have the confidence to go out there and do their best in the workplace or outside of work. So like Will said, at KPMG, you have loads of different mentors. So you've got your formal mentors in that I'm Will's line manager and mentor in that sense, but you work with so many different people. So the apprentices who join a year before you and the year before and the year before, they're all there to mentor you and support you, as well as external mentors to your day job. There's mentorship programs so I encouraged Will to not just speak to me as a mentor. The more people you can speak to and have in your network, the better you're going to be, the more opportunities you're going to have come your way. So I encouraged him to sign up to another formal program that we have here called Next Generation Voice. So he's actually buddied up with a director in IT audit, so completely external to his day job, who's there to give an outside opinion. Yeah, so we're really there to help you in your career.
Yeah, there's nothing like learning from people there who've been there and done it. So you don't have to relearn the same lessons that they have. I believe that a lot of highly successful people attest to benefiting from advice and insights from mentors at various times in their lives. So it really is fantastic to hear that KPMG have embedded that culture of mentorship into the apprenticeship program to help make sure those apprentices really can kickstart their careers and get off on the right foot. Will, have you got any examples of some advice that you've received from a mentor that's maybe changed the way that you work?
There's one thing that really stands out to me, and that's to kind of throw yourself at everything, especially those areas that you're interested in, of course. So for me, I'm really interested in kind of CSR events, working with local charities, going to local schools, talking to pupils at careers fairs. So I really like the word empowering. It was Emma empowering me to have the confidence to go straight in and do that. And that's the advice I probably took on board the most.
Yeah, so on our formal monthly catch-ups, you really get to know your apprentice and your line manager and understand what they enjoy and what they're really interested in. We build that relationship over time and that trust in each other, so that when Will comes with a small idea or I'm actually a bit interested in that, I can really empower him to say, go for it. Just reach out to this person, or just run with it. The charity, you're really encouraged at KPMG to, what's the word?
To own your own success, I guess.
To own your own career and map that out for yourselves, and your mentors are there to support you in that and put you on the right path.
That's a really interesting approach. I think KPMG's tens of thousands of employees globally. I think a lot of people will think of a big company of that size, a lot of the instruction is going to be top down. So it's really interesting to hear that actually, even joining as an apprentice, maybe a first, second year, you are empowered to go out, make suggestions, those ideas are taken on board. You've got that capacity to go and execute on those ideas and try things. That's really incredible to hear. It's probably something most people don't realize is available. And
yeah, sure.
I was just going to say the really important thing from that as well is that everybody, whether it's a partner or the director that I have as a mentor that Emma mentioned, everyone takes value in the views of apprentices as well, because they're fresh into the workplace with new ideas, new perspectives. So you're valued and your views are trusted as well, just as much as any other employee.
That's brilliant to hear. Yeah, I think that's probably quite unexpected to a lot of people as well. So brilliant. Thanks for sharing that. Apprenticeships are a multi-year commitment. And I guess without any previous experience in a particular industry like finance, it can be hard for students to know which areas they might enjoy, which you're working in. So Olivia, as your apprentices go through the program, is there scope for them to shape their own path based on their strengths and interests, for example?
Yeah, definitely. I think ultimately, just as a general as well, KPMG kind of recognise that the way of working has shifted a little bit. So KPMG offer a range of different, like flexible working, for example, whether that's kind of working from home, client site, working from the office. Now, this will obviously completely vary from team to team, and it will also, I guess, depend on which client you're on as well. But we do kind of offer that kind of flexible working model. In terms of scoping your career, KPMG offer a range of different opportunities to get involved with that really helps to kind of shape the direction, I guess, you want to go into. Obviously, Emma and Will mentioned whether this is kind of going into the mentoring program. So this is where you can be partnered with a manager grade or above, for example, but in a different section of the business to where you are currently, which again, you have your line managers, which is really, really great in terms of the goal setting. But in terms of your wider network, it's just another program that KPMG are wanting you to get involved with. And there's also work shadowing opportunities, so allowing you to shadow somebody else within the business. Again, this is something that I even did as well, and it's just really interesting because you do forget, being part of, a big firm like this, you do forget how many different sections there are and kind of how many opportunities there are to get involved with. So that's really useful as well. We also kind of have volunteering opportunities. I know Will briefly mentioned it as well. So KPMG will give all of their employees 6 volunteering days that they can use within the year. So what this means is that you wouldn't be expected to work. You have those 6 days. You can choose to take them kind of whenever. It might vary depending on which client you're on, for example. This is where you can do things such as working with schools, working with charities. You might work with local parks, things like that. I've done quite a few, and it's really, really just another way for us to kind of give back to the communities that we serve and get involved with, which is obviously really important to KPMG. And it's just another way that you can start to, you're not just sat within audit and that is what your whole day-to-day is going to look like. There's loads of different opportunities that you can get involved with to kind of broaden that network that you have. So yeah, this will just purely kind of enhance that development and interest. So then once you kind of finish your program, you're going to have that network around you. You're going to have that wider experience. You're going to have the connections with directors directors, partners of the business. And it's just all about kind of getting your hands in all the different pies and kind of taking those opportunities when they're presented to you. So yeah, I would definitely say it's down to you to build your own future, but we have the opportunities there and available to you if you wanted to take them.
Yeah, that's really reassuring to know. I think 'cause a lot of people, yeah, they might think they have an interest in something, but until you try it, you don't know. And I guess if KPMG allows you to, say, shadow different departments and things, and you get a more of a sense of what you're interested in, where your strengths are, and I guess we can then change your career path in line with that. That's an amazing opportunity. I guess just touching on kind of what opportunities there are available, Will's in audit. What other apprenticeship roles are there available at KPMG?
So at the moment, we only have open for our audit, our tax, and our KPMG business services apprenticeships. So they are all ready, to apply to through our website. Now it is a completely online application process for the moment. So we don't look at CVs. It's a 3-stage application process. So the first 2 will be virtual assessments, and then the final stage of the assessment process, if you're successful, on the first 2 stages, would be our in-person launchpad event, where it would just consist of a one-to-one interview with senior leadership and then also a group assessment task as well. And we do always say that early that you can apply, it just avoids disappointment, because once the roles are filled, they're filled. So definitely, check out our website. We have practice assessments on our website as well, if you wanted to kind of get ahead of the game before, fully submitting that, application. But yeah, to answer your question, what we have open currently is our audit, tax, and KBS.
Okay, great. But there's more to come, and so just to be clear, there's no fixed deadline date, but it's best to apply early, because if the roles get filled, then you can miss out.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you. And how do these apprenticeship programs prepare apprentices for sort of leadership positions and their future career?
In terms of, regardless of which capability, let's say you choose the apprenticeship to be in, obviously you'll come out with the qualification, which is, very, very highly thought of, but you'll also come out with confidence, experience. You'll come out with those transferable skills to kind of be able to take you in any direction of the business that you do want to go into, whether that is something different to, audit that you might have chosen, for example. I think KPMG are really big on kind of retaining that talent and scoping your career and giving you that support and flexibility to be able to do that. So as you will be completing the qualification and working at the same time from the very beginning of your program, you will have potentially come out the other end of your program with up to 5 years of experience. Obviously, that depends on how long your specific program is, but let's take it as like 5-year program on the apprenticeship scheme. So you would have done that work experience for 5 years. Some of our grads will go to university. The first year of their grad scheme is fully exams, so they don't have any of that hands-on work experience. So as an apprentice, your real advantage is actually having those 5 years in hand work experience, and it is very, very valuable. So another perk is kind of at the end of those 5 years, it will kind of lead you straight to that assistant manager level within the business, but you'll have also gained kind of the skills and the confidence to be able to get you there. So it's not like a huge jump. Yes, it is a jump, but you'll be ready to kind of excel in your career from that moment. So yeah, regardless of kind of which area you choose, there's, lots of different scope for your career.
That's a really important point, because I think a lot of perceptions amongst parents and students, and also some teachers as well, is that apprenticeships can kind of almost put a bit of a ceiling on your career progression. But what you're saying there is that actually the apprenticeship sets you up really well with all the skills you need for those leadership positions. And people coming in through university into those grad programs, they don't actually have an advantage necessarily in terms of getting those promotions later on in their career. It's very much a level playing field. There's no disadvantage to coming in as an apprentice compared to a grad.
Yeah, absolutely not. And I think, Will, correct me if I'm wrong, but like I go to different events quite a lot, working with different apprentices and graduates, and often it's actually the apprentices training the graduates on some things, because the apprentices are the ones that have that work experience. So there's like different opportunities. So I wouldn't say it, caps you at all. And I was on an event the other day with a partner who did one of the programs within audit, but then is in something actually completely different now. So you're not capped at all, I would say. It's just however far you want to take your career, that's kind of down to you, and KPMG will give you that opportunity to kind of propel you forward.
That's incredible. Okay, thank you. And Emma, I guess from the apprentices you've worked with, what do you find sort of excites apprentices most about the learning opportunities at KPMG? It sounds like there's an awful lot they can get involved in. What excites them most from your experience?
I think it's just so exciting from going from school to this huge company and there's so many opportunities, and not to scare anyone by saying it's a huge company, because it does have that family feel, especially in the regional offices here at Gatwick, where from 18 years old, potentially when you join, you are talking to the partner, which is not as scary as it sounds. They are all very lovely from my experience. From day one, they're interested in you, they're invested in your career, and you're also going to your, in our case, audited entities, and you're speaking to CFOs of businesses from the beginning. So you've got that opportunity to go straight in and talking to some really important people. Also the tech, you walk straight in on day 3 and you've got your laptop and a phone and a screen, and I think that's quite exciting as well. There's just so many opportunities, as we've alluded to. You've got your professional qualification, but there's so much more than that you're getting from KPMG, meeting new people, building networks. Yeah,
that's again fascinating, because I think a lot of people think of apprentices as being kind of the starting position within the business, and so they're going to end up doing jobs that maybe other people don't want to. But it's really interesting to hear that actually we're talking to CFOs and having conversations with partner level people from day one. That's incredible. So it very much sounds like the kind of role you can really progress quickly, and if you throw yourself into it, there's a lot of scope to learn fast on the job, and as I say, network with people that can then help you throughout your career. So that's brilliant to know. I'm sure that'll be interesting to our audience who maybe weren't aware of those particular opportunities. So Will, where are you hoping your apprenticeship will take you in the future? Sounds like you've got a lot of opportunities to learn and grow at KPMG. Have you got any thoughts on where you'd like it to take you?
To be honest, I've got too many thoughts. There's so many different opportunities and different things I'd like to get involved in. I think obviously the world of IT at the moment is very, very exciting. And obviously there's a whole kind of IT audit area of the business. So that's one opportunity. Obviously KPMG is a global firm, so there's opportunities to travel as well, and that personally excites me. There's endless opportunities really.
And that tech's a really interesting piece, because I think a lot of people assume that audit's very much maths based, it's about numbers, but it sounds from what you're saying as though actually if you're interested in technology, IT, computing, that there's a role within audit for someone with those interests.
Yes, it's a lot more than just kind of maths and just kind of accounting. And I think the apprenticeship system highlights that as well. I'm currently completing like a level 4 qualification on the way towards the ACA qualification, but I'm still able to throw myself into learning all the other elements of it. We use our audit software. We look at kind of systems of controls, more than just mathematical elements.
Yeah, there's not really maths at all, because the computer does it all for us. Excel does it all for us.
Yeah.
And the world's really changing, and the world of audit is changing as well. So we're trying to encourage the use of AI within the audit, so people are actually doing interesting jobs and the computer can do the less interesting things. And we need apprentices and young people to come in and play with the AI and teach us and teach the older partners how to use AI. So that's something that the apprentices are getting involved in as well.
Brilliant. I guess it's a really good example of how that younger generation with maybe different skill sets are actually helping to bring value to the table that some of the senior people don't have. That's good to hear. Will, have you got any sort of final advice to students who are at school who may be considering an apprenticeship?
So in one phrase, and I used it earlier, it'd be throw yourself at every opportunity, obviously as long as it's in line with your interests. For me, in terms of throughout the application process, I found it really handy to have a kind of toolbox of things I could pull out in an interview. I know Olivia mentioned working part-time. I worked from as soon as I turned 16 all the way through until applying to KPMG. So having those experiences and almost stories to tell during the interviews was a great asset. And just don't be afraid to reach out to people and create your own opportunities through that as well as embracing the ones that come across you.
Brilliant. Great words of wisdom there. Thank you very much. Well, thank you all very much for your time and insights today. It's been a real pleasure to have you with us, and certainly learned a lot about KPMG, but also the apprenticeship route and what it can offer people for their future careers. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed listening and picked up some invaluable tips or advice. If you did enjoy, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. If you're looking for student jobs, we have part-time jobs, gap year roles, apprenticeships, internships, placements, or graduate roles. head to e4s.co.uk. See you next time.